It's the family business. Let's not kid ourselves. What's happening right now isn't just like an industry evolution. It's a full-scale gutting of Hollywood's DNA. The headlines and the strategy say that boardrooms need synergy. Wall Street says efficiency. But on the lot, it just means layoffs, displacement, and a slow death of an institutional memory. You've got David Ellison and Skydance swallowing up Paramount Global, rumblings of another merger at Warner Brother Discovery, and guys like Gary Cardinale looking at the camera and saying, we can do this without mass layoffs. Huh, that's a nice line. It's also the same line that the town has heard every single time a private equity guy discovers where the commissary is. Because here's the truth no one puts in the trade ads. You don't buy companies to duplicate costs. You buy them to kill them. 2 marketing departments, 1 goes. 2 distribution teams, 1 goes. 2 development slates, half of it gets burned. Suddenly, a creative ecosystem becomes a spreadsheet exercise run by someone who thinks that, quote, final cut is something you do in a budget. Now, compare that to what Amazon and MGM today are doing. It's not perfect, but it's a different playbook. Amazon didn't come in like a raider. They came in like a landlord. They kept the brand. They kept the doors open. They didn't gut the place just day one. Why? Because they have one thing traditional studios lost: patience and quality executives. When your business is everything, you can afford to let a studio breathe. But the rest of these guys, they leverage to the hilt everything, and they're running out of oxygen. Let's talk about what we actually lost when my dad, Sid Sheinberg, and Lou Wasserman ran Universal. It wasn't just a business, it was a community. And I'm not being sentimental, I'm being literal. As Sid's son, I grew up in that world. I saw it firsthand. Sid didn't just look at the P&L, he looked at his employees, the entire list, not just names at the top, but I mean secretaries, the backlot crews, the guys that are swinging hammers in construction, the projectionists, the sound guys. He made sure everybody had a health care plan. He made sure they all had a future. I saw that studio that way, and I saw it take care of its own because Sid knew that if the people were stable, the movies would be better, and the TV, and everything else. Try finding human dignity in a modern merger deck. It doesn't exist. Back then, the question was, how do we build something that lasts? Today, it's like, how do we do this and make it look good on an earnings call? And here's the part the MBAs don't get. When you cut people, you aren't just cutting overhead. You're cutting taste, you're cutting relationships, you're cutting the risk tolerance it takes to actually make a hit. You know, you're cutting the assistant who would have been like the next great producer or executive. You're cutting the executive who is like the only brave person to say yes to a weird script. Can you model this out and say that's going to work? Maybe. If the Ellisons actually play the long game, if they invest in stories instead of just debt service. But history is not in its favor. In this town, it's not encouraging. We've seen the debt-fueled consolidation before, and it ends with short-term gains. Long-term creative rot and another restructuring in 5 years. I've seen this all before. I came up in this business where people muttered as much as the product, where the studios were ecosystems, not assets. Maybe that world is gone, but I still believe this. The companies that remember how to take care of people are the ones who end up making the movies, and we actually remember them. Everything else, that's just finance wearing a baseball cap. Anyway, have a great day. The family business.